Hey guys, what's going on? It's Rekt Capital and thanks so much for joining me today in today's video about the Wyckoff distribution range and schematic in the context of the Bitcoin price action that we're seeing today. I'm going to be talking about why this distribution range is important to Bitcoin's price action and then explaining what has happened recently, but I'm also going to explain my thoughts as to whether this truly is a distribution range through the Wyckoff view and what needs to actually happen in Bitcoin's price action going forward, what we could potentially expect in the next few days and even weeks. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future, and let's dive right into the video. So just very basically, this is the Wyckoff distribution range, and we tend to see fake outs towards the upside, but also fake outs towards the downside before actually breaking down from this distribution range. So just very basically, very generally, you see a fake out towards the upside right over here, and you see a fake out towards the downside right over here. And the reason that I've just drawn this red area being the crucial decider for the range, generally the range is right over here. This is generally the range. You could even say that this is the range. But these points over here are the fake outs, fake breakout, fake breakdown, and this is the overall distribution range. And if we just align that with the schematic, it goes together quite nicely. This being the downside breakdown, the fake out, and the fake outs over here. So according to the schematic, now that we've actually broken down from the range, what needs to happen for Bitcoin's price action is it needs to rally towards the bottom of this distribution range and form a lower high and a lower low. So through the lens of this schematic, that just means that currently we're in the SOW phase of this post-distribution range crash. And now we need to recover into the LPSY to essentially form this lower high and lower low. So if this truly is a distribution range through the Wyckoffian viewpoint, Bitcoin will recover soon into this red area just to test this old support, right? Support, into a new resistance which would reject price, into a lower low and lower high. So that's essentially what the LPSY phase is all about. Lower high and lower low before transitioning into further downside, which is illustrated by the phase E of this Wyckoff distribution. So at this point in time, yes, it does look like a Wyckoff topping out structure in a sense that we've seen the breakdown already, but this is an unconfirmed breakdown rather from the Wyckoff distribution range. For it to be a fully confirmed distribution range, Bitcoin needs to rally towards $44,000 to test the bottom of its distribution range as a new resistance before rejecting towards the downside into further downside continuation, which would essentially be phase E. So we are currently in the SOW phase. We're trying to form some sort of bottoming at these current price regions, just trying to form some sort of stability before being able to relief rally. And of course, if this is a true Wyckoff distribution range, this is not the bottom, and a relief rally before further downside continuation to new lows is likely. That is the case if this is truly a confirmed Wyckoff distribution range. But what we've seen in previous Bitcoin pullbacks when Bitcoin was in a bull market, we tend to see this SOW phase form, then the LPSY where we tend to see lower lows and lower highs, but then Bitcoin, instead of just rejecting over here and continuing into phase E, Bitcoin would just break back into the range and continue to new highs. That's what tends to happen in Bitcoin bull markets when we see a Wyckoff distribution range form in this sort of curling down price action, breakdown, and then relief rally to just try and understand whether this is a fully confirmed or unconfirmed Wyckoff distribution range. And in Bitcoin bull markets, these sort of Wyckoff distribution ranges have never actually preceded further downside. They haven't preceded entire new bear markets. That's something that's really crucial to understand. So Bitcoin is going to be forming some sort of bottoming out structure right over here before continuing here for a very key pivotal test of whether or not this is the LPSY. And of course, on the first test, we're probably going to get a rejection. We're probably going to see a rejection that's quite harsh for Bitcoin. But the most important thing to watch out for after that rejection, so relief rally, rejection, after that rejection, we need to see whether we get another rally back into here and whether that rejection is going to be even worse. And in previous Bitcoin bull markets, that second rejection actually isn't really worse. It's very, very tempered and actually gives way to a breakout later on. So this LPSY phase is going to be the most important thing to watch out for relative to the bottom of that distribution range, because previously we tend to see that this LPSY phase is entirely invalidated with Bitcoin just breaking back into the range, and that's it. So this is currently an unconfirmed distribution range, and we just need to see whether that's going to be a confirmed range, and we'll only find out once we reach this region and confirm a rejection from here at least twice. And that second rejection has to be stronger, because if it isn't, that means that this area, this resistance, is running out of sell side pressure, right? Because if we were to rally into here and we get a stark rejection, but then the buy side pressure actually buys that rejection up and we rally back into this region only to get a smaller rejection, then the sellers aren't actually piling up in this region. They're actually not that comfortable to sell. They're not having that confidence in selling. So essentially that would be a sign of this area weakening. Whereas what we're watching for is for that correction, that rejection to be strong the first time round, and for that rejection to be stronger the next time round, just to showcase that there are sellers piling in at this region. So those are some of the things that I'm going to be watching for. And one of the most important things to also bear in mind is that the confluence here is quite interesting, because this is a very important region, and we understand why through the Wyckoffian viewpoint. But this is approximately confluent with the 200 daily exponential moving average, which is a long-term gauge of investor sentiment. And essentially speaking, whenever you see Bitcoin above this 200 daily exponential moving average, investors, long-term investors, are bullish on Bitcoin. But whenever price is below it, then they're bearish on Bitcoin. And of course, this is a lagging indicator, because long-term investors were bullish. According to this EMA, of course, long-term investors were bullish on Bitcoin even on this crash right over here, but only became bearish on Bitcoin in the latter stages of this crash. And in fact, you can still be bullish on Bitcoin because Bitcoin was up at one point plus 35% after these capitulation lows. So of course, this is an indicator that lags a bit. And sometimes even below, when Bitcoin is below this 200 daily exponential moving average, that just signifies an outsized ROI opportunity. But of course, Bitcoin does need to break above here for this just to be a fake out, not only below the 200 daily exponential moving average, but also just a fake out below the distribution range before breaking back up. So those are some of the most important things to bear in mind. And of course, if you just look at this 38K region, in the past, earlier this year, we saw a 5-week period right over here between 32K and 38K where Bitcoin was just consolidating for 5 weeks before confirming a breakout to new highs. Well, this is now a week and a half, roughly speaking. It's been Wednesday to Wednesday, so 2 weekly candles, but really just a week, just over a week from Wednesday to Wednesday. So Bitcoin has been in this range right over here for just a week. And we already got our first upside wick beyond this range, trying to break back into this range. So a weekly close like this would probably mean we'd have to be inside this range a little bit longer and potentially even revisit the lower ranges of this range, closer to the 32k area, before we can challenge again for this region over here. And potentially, even if we do confirm a close like this, that would mean we'd reject a bit to lower areas in the region, in this range, to form another higher low before challenging for this area once again. So nothing to be worried about necessarily, because we've seen, of course, this wasn't an uptrend, but we've seen multi-week consolidation inside this range, and seeing consolidation for multiple weeks inside this range also wouldn't be terribly out of the ordinary. So a weekly close above 38 would be great, just to confirm a break back into this range, but at the moment we're going to be inside here. So this weekly close is really important, because a weekly close above 38.5 would enable Bitcoin to rally back to 44k, and it's not setting itself up at the moment for that, but that's indeed what needs to happen for that Wyckoff distribution range LPSY phase to occur, just for us to understand whether that's a fully confirmed distribution range, because at the moment it's an unconfirmed distribution range, and we can't be sure about further downside happening without that confirmation. We can't enter phase E without that confirmation, because many people who don't know and aren't familiar with the schematic, they're going to be emotionally driven, thinking that this is what comes next, whereas we're still in this phase at the moment, the SOW, trying to bottom out, trying to form some sort of base before translating that base into a rally into the LPSY for that really key important test. And only then, once we confirm that breakdown from the Wyckoff distribution range, can we enter phase E. So we're nowhere near phase E at the moment. We're still trying to establish a base before LPSY comes. But in the meantime, that's about it for today's video update. Thanks so much for watching today. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video and would like to see more videos like this in the future. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The next video will be about a potential death cross looming for Bitcoin. If you'd like to check that out, stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you soon. I'm Rekt Capital. See you in the next one.